Hey, Coach Colin Castello here with Shot Mechanics Basketball, and welcome to another episode of the Ask Coach C Series. Today we're going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about how to shoot out of different footwork, we're going to talk about tilting your feet on your shot, and we're going to talk about how to get more rotation on the ball when you shoot it.
So the first question comes from Kevin Hernandez, and he wants to know, is it bad to have different footwork when I shoot?
First of all, awesome question, and this is one that I get a lot because a lot of different coaches have kind of different theories, right? Some guys like to shoot out of a two-footed hop, some guys like their players to shoot off of a 1-2. Really, I don't really care, and I try to teach my players to shoot off of everything. Just because in the game of basketball, it's not perfect. You're gonna have to shoot off of different footwork no matter the situation. So sometimes if you're doing like a pullback, a 1-2 step's gonna be easier. Whereas sometimes if you're shooting off of the catch, a hop's gonna be a little bit easier. So I would definitely work on all different types of footwork, and then that way you're gonna be more dynamic once you get into a game. Now with that being said, I think everything considered equal, I think that shooting off of a two-footed hop is actually a little bit faster. I've done a lot of research on it, I've done a lot of film breakdown on it, and shooting off of a two-footed hop where you're popping off the balls of your feet, keeping your heels off of the ground is by far the fastest way to shoot. So I would train your jumper that way first, and then I'd start working on kind of that 1-2, just to make sure that you're completely dynamic. So really, long story short, there's no right or wrong way to do it as long as you're getting good results, but all things equal, I kind of like the two-footed hop.
All right, so next question comes from Shantanu Batra, and they want to know, where should feet point while shooting? My coach says that it should point straight towards the basket. Waiting for your view on this. Thanks.
All right, this is a great question and something that I think a lot of people struggle with. And a lot of coaches don't even know that shooting with a slight turn can actually improve their athlete's jumper. In fact, I was just training a kid in the gym just the other day, and I looked down at the other end of the gym, and there was a trainer working with 4 or 5 about junior high school level girls, and they had them shooting straight up and down, feet straight towards the basket. Now, so generally speaking, my favorite way to shoot is with a slight tilt. And that's the way that the majority of the great shooters in the world shoot. And it's because if you shoot with a slight tilt in your feet, it alleviates a lot of tension in your shooting shoulder, thus making it a lot smoother of a jumper. If you look at pretty much any of the great shooters in the NBA, they pretty much all shoot with a tilt. So that's kind of my favorite. Now that being said, I've met good shooters that are 10 toes to the rim shooters, so it's possible to do. I just think it's a little bit harder to do it that way. So I'm not really in the camp of saying this is right or this is wrong. Instead, I'm saying what works best for you. There's certain people that shooting with straight toes, 10 to the rim, works better for them. And so if they get good results, by all means, keep going. But if not, if you're a 10 toes to the rim shooter and you're not getting great results, I would consider tilting your feet just slightly. Depending on you as a player, it depends on how much you like to tilt your feet. Some people like to tilt them a lot. Some people like to tilt them just slightly. Some people like to just tilt their non-dominant foot. They like to tilt just a little bit out to the outside. Whatever you can do to alleviate that tension in your shooting shoulder, it'll give you a smoother shot, and that's what I would go with.
All right, and the next question comes from Vegas Baller. They want to know, hey coach, I have a problem with the ball rotation of my shot. It is very slow rotation, and sometimes it rotates to the side. Any tips?
I love this one, and this is a great question because rotation is one of those things where everybody knows it's important, but a lot of people don't really know why. So the reason why rotation is important is because good rotation on the basketball decelerates it, meaning that it slows it down so that it has better touch if it does end up hitting the rim. With great rotation, it's also good because if it hits the back iron, it will kind of suck in. So good rotation does actually affect your shooting percentage. Now with that being said, there's a couple different ways to get good rotation. The number one way is to lock your wrist early. A lot of players will catch the basketball, they'll go up for their shot, and they'll have a really flat wrist till this the very end, and then they'll try to cock it at the last second and then snap it forward. One thing you can do is you can catch the ball, lock your wrist early as soon as you catch it. That way you've got it fully locked and you're ready to snap and go. Another good way to get rotation is to rotate the ball in your hand when you catch it to find the seams, meaning that you're going to dig your dominant finger into the seam on the catch. That way when you shoot, you get an extra little snap off of it. So I'm a middle finger shooter, so every time I catch the ball, if I have time, I try to rotate it in my hand, find the seam with my middle finger. That way I get a good snap on the ball and it gets me a lot better touch. If you can do at least one of these two things, you're probably going to increase your rotation on your basketball, so that should help you out. Again, I'm Coach Colin Castello with Shot Mechanics Basketball. Thank you so much for watching the Ask Coach C Series. Don't forget, if you got a question that you want answered, leave in the comment section down below, and it very well may be answered next week. And if you're new, you're going to want to hit that subscription button down below. That way you get all the videos as soon as they come out. You can also click this button up here or the link in the description to get a free copy of my top 3 favorite shooting secrets. These are shooting secrets that if you can plug them directly into your game, you'll probably increase your shooting percentage overnight. Thanks for watching. Splash on.